Mr. Prime Minister, sir, for millions of people across the country, you were the embodiment of probity and integrity in public life. But given the multiple allegations of corruption that are now besieging your government, do you get the sense, sir, that your own personal esteem in the eyes of the people of India has fallen some notches because of these allegations? And can you assure this audience, sir, that to the best of your knowledge, during the no confidence motion, no money exchanged hands, and the Congress party and your government did not purchase votes to stay on in power, sir?
I have no knowledge of any such purchases, and I am absolutely categorical. I have not authorized anyone to purchase any votes. I am not aware of any acts of purchasing votes. So I am absolutely certain in asserting that I am not at all, I think, involved in any of these transactions.
Sir, which role model should Indian youth follow as of today? They don't have anybody to look forward to, sir.
Well, I think the founding fathers of our constitution provide the best role models. Mahatma Gandhi,
Yes.
Jawaharlal Nehru,
Yeah.
I think, and all those who presided over India's march towards freedom and then to reconstruction and development. I think they are very important role models for all of us.
You are 100% correct, sir. As a psychotherapist,
No,
I see.
just,
Sir,
I think one question is enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sir, Mr. Prime Minister, sir, I am Shivraj Singh. I am National Secretary of Janata Dal United. I hail from Bihar, one of the poorest state of the country. In your speech, you said you appreciated the role of people in the movement of West Asian countries. Sir, I would like to know that what role do you think the government has, because today one of the most grave problems the country is facing is of corruption, and millions of people are suffering due to this. And poverty is, I think, one of the byproducts of corruption, because India is not a poor country. Indians are poor. But when it comes to tackling corruption, you in your speech, you have said that we are bound by the coalition dharma and we are bound by the compulsions of coalition. Sir, I would like to know that because people have great respect and faith in you, would you not like to abide by the constitution, have faith in people, and would you not like to act by the aspiration of people rather than being bound by the coalition dharma? The constitution and Guru Granth Sahib gives you the power
Fine, we got
to
the
act
question.
as Prime Minister.
I think
And
the-
thank
please
you.
give the
It
question.
goes without saying that all of us are bound to follow the constitution of our country, and therefore nothing that I have said is inconsistent with following the dictates of our constitution. I have taken an oath to defend the constitution and the laws of our country. And whatever I may have said about coalition dharma, I think should not in any way convey the impression that I am not in favor of following strictly the dictates of our constitution.
Yeah. Ajit.
Ajit Gulabchand, Chairman, Hindustan Construction Company. So this is to raise the issue that you raised when you first became Prime Minister of administrative reforms. The administrative reforms could go a long way in improving governance and thereby addressing some of the issues you just discussed. Besides, one more structural reform that's required to create the third tier of government at the local city and town levels, which will bring governance closer to the people and therefore more accountable. Could you highlight on how we would like to move on this, both these areas?
As far as administrative reforms is concerned, our government 5 years ago appointed an Administrative Reforms Commission. Several recommendations of that commission are under implementation, and whatever more needs to be done will be pursued with vigor. And as far as the local level institutions are concerned, in my speech, I have already mentioned that empowering our people requires strengthening of the Panchayati Raj institutions, giving them function, giving them funds, giving them power. That's the only way in which we can make decentralization an effective and viable instrument of empowering our people.
One last question. Yeah, gentleman there, no.
Mr. Prime Minister, I'm Samyak Chakrabarti from Bombay. I'm a social entrepreneur. In your speech, you mentioned about the growth of entrepreneurship in India. But the other reality is that not every young Indian who has an idea can become an entrepreneur. So my question is that as the government, do you have any plans to provide merit-based capital and other auxiliary resources that can support young entrepreneurs to realize their dream without having to go through rigorous sarkari process, which often discourages young people from taking the bold step? Thank you.
Well, I think venture capital, well-functioning stock markets, these are the instruments which are available outside the government system. And I hope that more can be done to streamline the functioning of these institutions to achieve the objectives that you have mentioned.
I am Nitin Shukla. Sir, black money is one of the biggest problem. About corruption and black money, one can always argue about cause and effect relationship. What is the cause and what is the effect? In any city or town in India, if one wants to buy a house or a piece of land, substantial portion is required to be paid in black money, and which is being done day in, day out, every day. Any such specific action that government can take to remove this black money or parallel economy in the system?
I think as far as black money in real estate is concerned, unfortunately that is a reality. And one way out of this would be to lower the stamp duties. The stamp duties in our country are a big obstacle to cleaning the mess with regard to transactions in real estate. So that's one way in which we can, I think, work towards a system whereby black money would be less of a menace in transactions relating to real estate.
Okay, one last, Mr. Harpal Singh.
Mr. Prime Minister, you know, the country, the people are greatly impressed by the growth that we have seen as a country over the last 15 years. Yet in the country today, we lose 1 million children before 48 hours of birth. We lose 2 million children before they achieve the age of 5. We have malnutrition both on the hunger side as much as also on the obesity side. Malnutrition, I understand, Mr. Prime Minister, and you would know this better, could have an adverse effect as much as 3% of global GDP. Mr. Prime Minister, we need much more work for children, for mothers, and certainly for livelihoods than what we are achieving so far. Your comments, Mr. Prime Minister.
Well, I do agree with you that we need to do a lot more, but it would be wrong to say that nothing is being done. The National Rural Health Mission primarily focuses on some of these issues. But I do agree with you that this is not something which can be done or achieved overnight. We need to increase public spending on health from less than 2% presently to about 5 to 6% in the next 5 or 6 years. That should be the goal which we should aim at as a nation.
So, I am Saurabh Tikral, student of JP University, Madhya Pradesh. Now, we know that India will become superpower by 2020 because we have certain kind of youth, a large amount of youth. But considering the aspect of reservation, Gujars and Jats have come up for reservation. The quality that the quality of the students that India can produce, do you think because of reservation can get reduced? Your comment.
Well, I don't think, I think we have to recognize that our scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and even some part of the minority population have suffered from persistent discrimination over the centuries, and therefore we have an obligation to deal with these historic inequities, and therefore we have to walk on both legs. Affirmative action plus commitment to excellence. I think these things sometimes appear contradictory, but I think the challenge before our country is to find pathways to harmonize both the need for effective affirmative action in support of the aspirations of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and minorities, and at the same time to reward excellence to the maximum extent possible.